So yeah, Pokopia is coming out this week. It's literally coming out in 2 days, and I haven't been this excited for a game in a minute because I love Pokemon. We've discussed this before. I love Pokemon, but Pokemon games have been not good. Let's be honest. Okay, graphics are bad, and it's the same game loop, right? There could be new Pokemon. The world could be set in a different place. It doesn't change the actual game than what you're playing, right? It's kind of like COD releasing the same game every year. It's like, what am I playing? Just because my gun looks a little different doesn't mean that it's a new game. So with Pokopia, it completely changes the formula of Pokemon. And it's not made by the same studio. It's not made by Game Freak, the studio that keeps making these Pokemon games literally be the same exact game, right? It's made by a different developer. There was actually a really funny quote on there was a streamer who was watching like one of the reveals for um the new Pokemon game that's coming out. There's another game coming out as well, which we'll discuss. And the game trailer started with the company. So it started with Game Freak, right? The name of the company before the trailer started. And he made a joke. He was like, seeing Game Freak on there almost feels like a threat. Like, oh no, like we're in trouble here. This could be bad because we have the title or the name of the company on screen. So that was hilarious to me, um, the way he put it. But anyways, Pokopia reviews are out. Right, there's early reviewers for these types of games, especially Nintendo. They always give review copies to people or YouTube channels that usually review Nintendo games. Gave them review copies, and this game is bigger, much more massive than I ever expected, than I think most people expected. It is huge. Okay. So a bunch of reviews are out for the game. Right. So if you go to the GameSpot review, I love actually GameSpot. I think the some of the critics and journalists there are really good at what they do. I wish they deserved more love. I think they're often better than the IGN review, even though IGN always gets more views and more media press. I think the way they go through some of um, the reviews and their discussions are always really good to hear. So I think in the future, definitely don't just watch one review video, watch several, and definitely stick with GameSpot. At least with the recent GameSpot reviews, I wasn't watching them too long ago before, so take it with a grain of sand in terms of how early you should go and what kind of reviews you should watch. But anyways, this game is literally everything Animal Crossing has. There's a game called Dragon Quest, which a lot of people might not have played, especially if you're not a huge Nintendo person. But essentially, it's like a building game. You can build like a huge city, town, um, and then obviously a lot of people have played Minecraft, and it kind of just puts them all together, with a Pokemon skin on it. But I was thinking the game would just be small, right? So just a small game with a couple of Pokemon, and you can sort of build stuff like Animal Crossing, and that's kind of about it. But no, the scope of this game is massive. There's a lot they haven't shown to us in those trailers, which I feel like they should have. I feel like they didn't do a good job of marketing the game. But just as review alone, even though they didn't go through a lot of this stuff in the review, like they didn't show too much because they're obviously trying to avoid spoilers. Um, Apparently the Pokédex of Pokemon that are in this game is huge, right? So I was expecting it to be pretty short because the whole concept of the game is you can replicate a lot of the moves that some of these Pokemon have. So how many Pokemon can you have? How many moves can you replicate? Because I feel like you can only replicate so much before things get a little too overwhelming. But apparently, no, there's a whole lot of Pokemon from several generations, which is insane. Um, there's a good story apparently, so there's a very interesting story. It's not just your typical childish story, like a Nintendo, very bare bones kid friendly story. There is some mystery to it, And the building is very comprehensive. Apparently, there's a lot of items. There's a lot that you gotta unlock, and there's so many biomes, which is the most awesome thing for me because I love exploration. Apparently, the scope of the biomes are insane, right? Like this is just one frame where you can already see in the distance, so I'm sure you can go all the way back here. And there's like these broken buildings apparently, which you can you can discover stuff in. So the world itself is massive, and there's so much exploration that you can do, and there's so many different biomes with all different Pokemon around. Like this literally sounds like a dream in terms of like an open world Pokemon game, but there's so much you can do in terms of building, um, and the story itself. And apparently the game is pretty long, so the story itself apparently took people like 30, 40 hours to complete, and that's not even including all the building and all that, which apparently is pretty comprehensive. And then you also have an online mode on top of that. Like this game is massive, and I think it's completely worth, even though it's $100 Canadian, and obviously that sucks. Like Nintendo games, come on, like what are we doing? This game is incredible for a Pokemon fan, and the reviews show for it. Okay, Metacritic, 89. Okay, I haven't checked myself. I heard online it's the highest rated Pokemon game in a long time, or maybe the highest rated Pokemon game, right? 89 is an incredibly high rating on Metacritic, right? I'm surprised it hasn't gotten the must play tag yet. Maybe it will later on when the game comes out, but all the reviews are crazy good. Um, and basically, mutually, everyone's agreeing that they didn't expect the game to be this big. And as a Pokemon fan, it is a dream come true. And there's just so much fun stuff you can do. Like, there's this thing, which I know might just look a little goofy and kiddish, but the fact that they've just included it and they've cared about every single detail, I think you can build like this cardboard thing where you can take pictures with people, right? Yeah, it's kiddish, but it's like they just threw in stuff, and it's like you do what you want with it, but here you go. We're gonna give this to you, and it's like, okay, that's awesome. And we got another ad, but you get the point. So there's just so much to the game, and I'm just so excited to see this finally a Pokemon game that's getting love and appreciation, and we can finally enjoy it for what it is. So super excited for this. Gonna pick it up day one, and I think if you're a Nintendo fan or if you have a Switch too, it's definitely a day one pickup, and I guarantee you're gonna get lost for a long time with this game. Um, March is just stacked. March is just incredible for games, right? Like this is coming out. Um, Crimson Desert's coming out, so we'll discuss that really quickly. Just wanted to give a little bit of update that we got on Crimson Desert. Those two games are huge, are both massive games, and that's gonna already occupy a lot of our time. And I feel like it's gonna leave a lasting impression for at least a portion of this year. Where you're gonna look back on it, you're gonna be like, wow, that was a good time. Like for me playing that up till the end, like looking back on that, you're like, gotta remember that for a while. You're gonna be like, wow, I enjoyed my time with that game. And I think both these games are also contenders for Game of the Year. Crimson Desert, it's looking really good, but we still have yet to hear about, exactly how good it is. If it's like extremely incredible or just good, lives up to expectations. Pokopia clearly just threw it out of the park, and people are already saying it's a Game of the Year contender. It's almost Donkey Kong Bonanza level contender right there.